Hello and welcome to Disney Travel Tales, a podcast that allows you to immerse yourself in someone's recent Disney trip. I'm Jenny and I'm so happy to be here with you talking about my favorite thing, Disney trips. Join us every Friday as we explore the parks or cruise ships with a new guest and learn inside tips and tricks to hopefully help make your vacation go a little smoother. Make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you are listening so you never miss a new episode, and I would love it if you left a positive review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. This is the easiest way to support the podcast. Another way to support the podcast is to use me as your travel agent at no cost to you. Email me at jenny@trolleylanetravel.com. Let me do all the hard planning while you sit back and count down the days to your vacation. Okay, so let's get going with today's show. Hello and welcome to Disney Travel Tales. You are listening to episode number 77, and today I am here talking with you all about how to stay cool when you visit Disney World in the summer. A huge misconception about visiting Walt Disney World in Florida is that summer is the busiest season to visit. Now, I think there was a time when this was probably true, but Disney offers so many really fun things throughout the year, especially around Halloween and Christmas, that those times have now become some of the busiest times to visit along with spring break. So summer usually isn't too bad, and a lot of the promotions that Disney runs are during the summer. So when Disney runs a promotion, that's kind of a key to realize, oh, it must not be that busy. That's why they're trying to get people to come to the parks. And so I will be visiting Disney this summer with my son, Aiden. We leave on June 27th. I'm so excited, but I'm also a little bit nervous about the heat and just being prepared for Florida in the summer. While I was doing all this research, that's when I thought this would be a great show to come on and talk about just tips for staying cool and being prepared for summer in Florida. So let's just jump right into it. My first tip number one would be prepared for rain. We visited Florida back in 2019. We didn't go to Disney World, but we visited pretty much all the rest of Florida. And we were really surprised. It rained every single day while we were there. Now, we're from Texas where we are used to the heat. It is really, really hot where we live in Central Texas pretty much the entire summer. It's also really dry. We get no rain in the summer. And so when we went to Florida, I was prepared to be hot. I was not prepared at all for the rain and the humidity. It's a completely different type of heat. So I recommend making sure you have ponchos ahead of time. I like to bring two types of ponchos. I like to bring a disposable poncho that's just kind of easy to throw on. It's really big. I can throw it on over my whole bag, my ears, everything that I'm wearing, and I will stay dry. But then I also like to have a thicker poncho for those days that it's just going to rain all day and that you're might need to wear it for a longer period of time. The disposable ponchos are really great, but they also can kind of create like a sauna while you're in them, and so you can get really hot. Those are great for just a quick rain shower that's going to come through. So I like to carry both of those. I'm also on this trip, I'm taking an umbrella with me. I'm not sure how much I'm going to get to use it because of lightning, if there's a bad storm coming through. But another good use for the umbrella is to keep the sun off you. So I figure it's going to be kind of a two-way option for me to use to stay dry or keep the sun off me. I'm also just going to mention real quick, I'm going to link all of the products that I bought for this vacation in the show notes. So if you are traveling anywhere that you might want these things, just check the show notes for links. As along the same lines as being prepared for rain, my second tip is to download a good weather app and turn the alerts and notifications on. This way, if you're at the parks, you can get a notification that it's going to be raining soon or that a storm might be coming in. So that way you kind of know what to expect, therefore you can be prepared. My third tip is to buy and pack cooling towels. I like to use Frog Tog cooling towels. Like I said, here in Texas, it's really hot. My son plays baseball, so I'm outside a lot in the summer, and these towels are the best, in my opinion, to really keep you cool. If you have these towels with you, put them in a bag, in a little Ziploc bag. I like to throw ice with them. It's not necessary, but throw some ice cubes in them. You can get ice from your resort. Stick it in a big Ziploc bag, and then when you're out at the parks, just drape it around your neck. It really will keep you cool. It's actually surprising. A lot of people think, oh, those towels don't work that great. They really will. It will cool you down quick, especially if you're kind of having almost an anxiety moment with the heat, which is very common. It can happen to anyone. It will give you that quick relief. So pack cooling towels. Number 4, stay hydrated. It is so important to make sure you're drinking lots of water when it's hot outside. Extreme heat will cause it almost like accelerates dehydration, and you don't want to find yourself in a dangerous situation. So instead of having to buy expensive bottles of water at the park, you can bring a refillable water bottle and just fill it up when you can at water fountains, or there's bottle refill stations. What we always like to do is have Instacart bring water to our room. We order water that arrives on our very first day of our trip. We keep it in our room, and then we just take bottles to the park as we need them. We like to plan on around 4 bottles per person. When you're with a bigger group, it works easier because you can each carry bags to carry the water so that one person isn't carrying a heavy bag. On our March trip, we actually had a backpack cooler. It's pretty small. It's not like a large size, so it was never flagged or anything. We threw water in there with some ice so our water stayed cold. We also threw our cooling towels in there because when we visited in March, it was really warm, which is kind of rare, but it was great at keeping us all hydrated and cool. You can also ask for a free cup of water from any of the quick service restaurants in the park. When was the last time you visited a Disney park? For many adults, it's been a really long time. I would love to help you fix that situation. As a travel agent specializing in Disney, my job is to make sure your vacation can go as seamless as possible. All of my services are complimentary to my clients. Yes, you heard that right. I'm free to you. These services include helping you from the start finding the perfect resort to fit your needs, handling all the bookings and reservations, helping to teach you about the parks, because if it's been a while, man, have they changed. I have insider tips and tricks I share with all of my clients, and I will be your single point of contact throughout your entire trip, even while you are there. Don't wait another year to visit a Disney park or go on a Disney cruise. Let this be the year you finally go. Email me at jenny@trolleylanetravel.com to get the conversation started, or see the link in the show notes to fill out my quote form. All listeners that book a trip with me will receive a $20 gift card to use on their trip. Just make sure you say you heard this on the podcast. Okay, now back to the show. Tip number 5 would be to plan ahead. A lot of the people that visit Disney during the summer, they don't plan. They kind of just, oh, we're going to go to Disney World, and they just kind of show up and go. And so if you can have a plan, you're going to get the most out of your time while you're there. And part of that plan would be to arrive early and to stay late and take that afternoon break. The mornings and evenings at Disney, weather-wise, are really nice. It's not going to be cold or anything, but it will be a lot cooler without that hot sun beaming down on you. So if you can make sure you're going to rope drop the park, and then maybe around lunchtime, take a long, nice lunch break, maybe go back to your resort and swim, take a nap in your room, watch some TV, relax, and then head back to the parks later in the evening once it starts to cool down. Try not to be in that mindset that you have to stay open to close at the parks just to make sure you get everything done. Because even if you get all the things on your checklist done, you might not actually be even having a good time, or the people in your party, they might not be enjoying themselves. So then what's the point of getting it done just to check it off? By really scheduling your day and making sure people are comfortable, not getting overheated, knowing when to take breaks, this is going to make the best vacation for you and your family. You'll look back and you won't think, oh, it was so hot. Oh, the lines were so long. You'll think, oh, remember when we took that afternoon break at the pool, how much fun that was. So really think about it, sit down, plan your trip. If you're listening to this podcast, you're obviously a planner. And so by making sure that you have a plan, you will get the most out of your vacation. This just rolls over into my tip number 6, which is plan to do indoor attractions during the middle of the day. So the middle of the day into the early evening is going to be the hottest part of the day. This is a great time to really look at the park that you're visiting and see what their options are for indoor activities. If you don't want to leave the park during the day, let's say you're not staying at a Disney resort and so it requires a little bit more to come and go, then you can still stay at the parks and make the most out of your time. You can take a really long lunch at a restaurant, plan to sit down at a table service restaurant and just really relax, enjoy the indoors and the air conditioning, and make sure to hydrate during that lunch. Or look at your park and figure out what are the things I can do that are indoors. This is a great time to meet characters that are indoors. This is a great time to see Mickey's PhilharMagic or the Carousel of Progress if you're over at Magic Kingdom. Epcot has lots of movies, the Canada movie, the one at China, the China Pavilion that you can go and watch. There's really lots of options at every park that you can take time, go sit indoors and relax and kind of let that heat pass by. The middle of the day tends to also be the busiest time of day in the parks because the people who slept in are now coming in and they're not going to want to leave because they came later, or park hoppers are coming in, or people who are local are deciding, well, let's go to the park for the afternoon. So that's a great time to just kind of pick an indoor spot where you can sit down, hydrate, relax, and cool off. Tip number 7, bring an extra pair of socks and possibly shoes when you're packing. You might run into an incredibly rainy day at the parks. There is nothing worse than a rainy day, after a rainy day, having wet socks that you're having to squash your feet around in. That's definitely going to cause some blisters. So make sure when you pack your park bag each morning that you're throwing in a couple of pairs of extra dry socks. Tip number 8, bring a portable fan. I have a couple of neck fans that I wear when I'm home watching my son's baseball game that I'm going to pack. I also have a small handheld fan that I'm also going to pack. With the cooling towels and the neck fan combination, that's really going to cool you down. I promise. You will be shocked at how much better it makes you feel. Now, there are fancy cooling fans that have like little air conditioners in them. They are more expensive. They usually run around $200. The ones that I buy are just recycled air. And even though sometimes the air that is blowing on me is a little bit warm, it's still nice. It's almost like a breeze. And so it's better than just still air or not having any air at all. So I highly recommend to bring some sort of portable fan that you can use when you feel that moment when you're getting a little bit overheated. Tip number 9, plan for a day at the water park. Disney has a couple of really great water parks. One of them is always open during the summer, which is Typhoon Lagoon. Maybe plan for a day there as one of your park days. You can also add the Park Hopper Plus option to your ticket, which will allow you to visit the water park whenever you want. You don't need a park reservation. They're really nice. And that's just giving you an entire day at the park where you're riding rides. If your kids don't want to just sit at the resort pool every day during the afternoon, this would be a fun way to get to ride rides and be in the water at the same time. We have the Park Hopper Plus option on our tickets in June, and we'll be visiting Typhoon Lagoon one day. So make sure that you're subscribed to the show. So when we will definitely be doing an episode about Typhoon Lagoon. So you can hear how it is, how our experience with that is. Tip number 10, Choose to do an after hours party or stay at a deluxe resort so you get those extra hours at night. Again, people when they're planning their Disney vacations, they don't want to leave the parks because they are so worried that they're not going to get their money's worth if they don't do all the things that they wanted to do. The after hours party and then the deluxe magic hours at night, these are great ways that you can do rides with lower crowds. I did the deluxe magic hours when I went in September, and it was fantastic, especially the one at Magic Kingdom. The crowds were super low. It was nighttime. And in September, it was really, really hot. But those evenings were so comfortable. It was really nice. It never rained. It typically rains more during the day than it does in the evening. And so it allows you just to have an experience at the park with less people. So those are all of my tips. But ultimately, my best advice is to just plan ahead for the heat. Be prepared if you are visiting in June, July, August, even September, that it's going to be very hot and it's going to rain a lot. I always feel like if you are prepared for these things, when they happen, you won't be upset because you're already ready. Don't let weather ruin your magical vacation to Disney World. If you have any other great tips for traveling to Disney when it's hot outside, I would love to hear them. You can find me on Instagram at Disney Travel Tales, send me a message there, or just email me at jenny@trolleylanetravel.com. Let me know what your tips are, and I'll share them over on Instagram. Thank you for listening today. I really appreciate you spending your time over here with us, and I hope this was just what you needed to hear today. I'm always looking for new guests for the podcast, so if you are traveling to any Disney park or cruise, see the show notes for more information about being on the show. Visit the show all around the web at disneytraveltales.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Disney Travel Tales. See pictures from the guests on their vacations. Plus, this is just a great way to stay up to date with all things related to the podcast and Disney travel in general. Join me next week with a brand new episode. So until then, this is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams become a reality.